Let me ask you something, and be honest. Does the path from your bed to the bathroom feel a little too familiar these days? Are you finding that a good night's sleep is being broken up into two, three, or even more frustrating little pieces? You finally drift off, only to be woken by that all too familiar pressure, that urgent signal that you have to get up again. If you're nodding your head right now, you are in very good company. This isn't just something happening to you. Research from top institutions like Yale Medicine shows that by the time men are between 60 and 69 years old, up to 70% are dealing with an enlarged prostate, a condition called Benign Prostatic Hyperplasia, or BPH. And that number jumps to a staggering 80% for men over 70. It is incredibly common. And while your doctor is, of course, your most important partner in this journey, the reality is they don't always have the time to sit down for a half hour and talk about the small, seemingly innocent things you do every single evening that could be making the problem worse. So, if you've been telling yourself, well, this is just what getting older feels like, I'm here today to respectfully challenge that idea. Because while an enlarged prostate is common, the severity of its symptoms, especially the ones that rob you of your sleep, is something you have more control over than you might think. In the next 25 minutes, we are going to count down the 7 most common bedtime mistakes that are harming your prostate. And for each one, we're not just going to tell you what to do, we're going to explain the why behind it, giving you a powerful toolkit to start reclaiming your nights, starting tonight. Hello, and thank you for joining me. Our goal today is ambitious but simple, to help you get a better night's sleep by taking control of your prostate health. The problem we're tackling head-on is called Nocturia. That's the medical term for waking up 2 or more times during the night to urinate. And let's be clear, according to the Urology Care Foundation, a healthy adult should be able to sleep for a solid 6 to 8 hours without being interrupted by their bladder. Anything less isn't just an annoyance, it disrupts the deep restorative sleep your body and mind need to heal and recharge, affecting your energy, your mood, and your overall quality of life the next day. Now, this isn't just guesswork or folk wisdom. To make sure we're giving you the most reliable information, we'll be drawing on research and guidelines from some of the most trusted names in American medicine, including the Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins Medicine, and the National Institute on Aging. Here's how we're going to do this. We'll count down the 7 biggest bedtime mistakes, from number 7 all the way to the number 1 culprit that might surprise you. For each mistake, we'll talk about why it happens, and most importantly, the simple, practical action step you can take to fix it. You'll definitely want to stick around for mistake number 2. It's something that happens outside the bedroom, but has a direct impact on prostate pressure while you sleep. And most men never make the connection. And of course, a quick but very important reminder, I am not a doctor. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice from your personal physician, who knows your unique health situation. Always consult your doctor for any questions about your health. All right, are you ready? Let's get started on the path to a more peaceful night. Let's dive in with bedtime mistake number 7. Coming in at number 7 is a mistake that seems logical on the surface, but it's built on a fundamental misunderstanding of how your bladder works. The mistake is not just what or how much you drink before bed, but the timing and the thinking behind it. Many men, frustrated with nighttime urination, drastically cut their fluid intake all day, thinking this will solve the problem. But this can backfire spectacularly. Here's why. This leads to what I call the dehydration paradox. When you don't drink enough water throughout the day, your urine becomes highly concentrated. Think of it like the difference between pale straw-colored lemonade and dark, syrupy apple juice. That concentrated urine is full of waste products that can act as a powerful irritant to the sensitive lining of your bladder. An irritated bladder is a twitchy bladder. It sends urgent, "I have to go now" signals to your brain, even if it's not actually full. So by trying to solve the problem by dehydrating yourself, you can actually increase the frequency and urgency of your bathroom trips, even if the volume each time is small. I think of my neighbor Bill. He was so frustrated with his nightly trips that he started sipping as little water as possible after 3 p.m. He couldn't understand why he still felt that sudden, powerful urge to go at 2 a.m., even when there wasn't much there. He'd fallen into the dehydration paradox. The solution isn't dehydration, it's timed hydration. You need to give your body the water it needs to function properly and keep your urine diluted and non-irritating during the day. And then strategically taper off as bedtime approaches. So your action step here is to create a fluid curfew. This is a clear recommendation from experts at the Mayo Clinic and the Urology Care Foundation. Make it a hard rule. No liquids of any kind for a full 2 hours before your head hits the pillow. This gives your kidneys plenty of time to process the fluids and your bladder time to empty before you settle in for the night. And during the day, focus on steady sipping to stay hydrated so your body isn't trying to play catch-up at night. Now, it's important to mention, if you're experiencing extreme thirst along with frequent urination, that can be a sign of other conditions like diabetes, and it's absolutely a reason to see your doctor. So we've handled the fluid curfew, but what you do while you're sitting on the couch in the evening, not drinking, can be just as critical. That brings us directly to mistake number 6. Mistake number 6 is the habit of settling into your favorite chair after dinner and staying there, uninterrupted, for hours on end. It's the classic evening couch potato routine, and while it feels relaxing, it can be creating a perfect storm for nighttime prostate problems. The reason this is so detrimental is twofold, and it's the first part of what I call the pressure trifecta. First, when you have an enlarged prostate, sitting for prolonged periods puts direct physical pressure on your pelvic floor and on the prostate gland itself. Research conducted in South Korea on nearly 70,000 men found a clear link between increased sitting time and a higher risk of what are called lower urinary tract symptoms, or LUTs, the very symptoms we're talking about. Think about it like this. You wouldn't sit on a bruised apple, right? Your enlarged prostate is sensitive. Spending 3 hours straight in your recliner, watching a movie, is like putting a slow, steady pressure on that sensitive area all evening. But there's a second, more subtle mechanism at play. When you sit or stand all day, gravity causes fluid to pool in your lower legs. This is a form of mild edema. When you finally lie down flat in bed, that accumulated fluid is no longer held down by gravity. It gets reabsorbed back into your bloodstream, delivered to your kidneys, and turned into urine right when you're trying to sleep. This is why urology experts often recommend elevating your legs in the evening, or even taking an afternoon nap. It helps your body process that fluid long before bedtime. The evening couch potato routine prevents this from happening. So your action step is to become a pacer. You don't have to give up your favorite shows, but you do have to break the cycle of uninterrupted sitting. Set a timer on your phone or watch. Every 30 minutes, get up. Walk around the house for 2 or 3 minutes during a commercial break. Do a few gentle stretches. This simple act accomplishes 2 things. It relieves the constant pressure on your prostate, and it helps your circulation manage those fluids before you ever get into bed. Of course, if you have significant swelling in your legs, or if you have any conditions related to your heart or circulation, talk to your doctor before making any major changes to your activity or using things like compression stockings. All right, so we're moving more in the evening, But what about that comforting drink you might have in your hand while you're watching TV? That leads us straight to mistake number 5. Coming in at number 5 is the habit of having an evening nightcap or a comforting cup of tea or coffee to wind down. This could be a glass of wine, a beer, a cup of decaf, or even a hot chocolate. While it might feel relaxing, you could be drinking a cocktail of bladder problems. The issue here is that certain drinks, specifically those containing alcohol or caffeine, are a double-edged sword for your urinary system. It's crucial to understand the two distinct ways they cause trouble. First, they are potent diuretics. A diuretic is any substance that signals your kidneys to pull more water from your blood and produce more urine. So when you have a beer or a cup of coffee, you are essentially sending a direct order to your body's urine factory to ramp up production. This is a volume problem. But that's only half the story. Alcohol and caffeine are also powerful bladder irritants. This is a completely different mechanism. As we discussed earlier, certain substances can aggravate the sensitive lining of the bladder wall, making it twitchy and hypersensitive. This creates a powerful sensation of urgency, signaling your brain that you need to go, even if your bladder isn't particularly full. This is a sensitivity problem. So, that single drink is hitting you with a 1-2 punch. It's telling your kidneys to make more urine, while simultaneously telling your bladder to be less tolerant of holding it. A friend of mine used to love his 1 glass of red wine every night to relax. He thought, it's just 1 small glass. What he didn't realize was that he was sending his bladder 2 conflicting signals: make more urine and get irritated and sensitive. On his doctor's advice, he switched to a non-alcoholic, caffeine-free herbal tea and was stunned by the difference it made in reducing his nighttime trips. Your action step is to declare your evenings a no-fly zone for caffeine and alcohol. This is a clear recommendation from the Mayo Clinic and other health organizations. This includes coffee. Even decaf has some caffeine. Black tea, green tea, colas, and any alcoholic beverage. If you enjoy a warm, comforting drink before bed, switch to a truly caffeine-free herbal option like chamomile, peppermint, or rooibos tea. And it goes without saying, but if you feel you have a dependency on alcohol, that's a much larger conversation and a very important one to have with your healthcare provider. There is help available, and it's a sign of strength to ask for it. Speaking of things that can irritate the bladder, that nightcap isn't the only offender. What you're eating for dinner or as a late-night snack can be just as problematic. This brings us to mistake number 4. At number 4, we have a mistake that starts at the dinner table: eating bladder-irritating foods in the hours before you go to sleep. Just like with caffeine and alcohol, certain foods can directly aggravate your bladder, leading to that familiar cycle of urgency and frequency all night long. The why here is all about irritation. Your bladder lining is a delicate tissue. When compounds from certain foods are filtered out of your blood and into your urine, they can act as direct irritants. The Mayo Clinic health system and other sources have identified a list of common culprits that can amplify bladder symptoms. The big offenders are spicy foods, like those with chili peppers or hot sauce. Highly acidic foods, especially tomatoes and tomato-based products like pizza or pasta sauce, and citrus fruits. Even things you might not suspect, like onions or heavily processed salty foods with lots of seasonings, can contribute to the problem. Think of your bladder lining like sensitive skin. If you put something harsh on it, it gets red and irritated. Eating a big bowl of spicy chili or a pizza with lots of acidic tomato sauce for dinner is like doing that from the inside out. Your bladder gets agitated, and it lets you know by sending those urgent signals to your brain all night long. This doesn't mean you have to give up your favorite foods forever, but it does mean you need to be strategic. Your action step is to make your evening meals bladder-friendly. Think Bladder, not boring. Focus on prostate-healthy choices like lean proteins, chicken or fish, a wide variety of non-acidic vegetables, and healthy whole grains. Save the spicy salsa, the orange juice, and the 5-alarm chili for lunchtime. This gives your bladder many hours to process everything and calm down long before your head hits the pillow. Keeping a simple food diary for a week can also be incredibly revealing, helping you connect what you eat for dinner with how you sleep at night. Now, a critical red flag here. If you notice blood in your urine or have pain or burning when you urinate, don't just blame it on the spaghetti sauce. Those are serious symptoms. According to the National Institute on Aging, they are an immediate reason to call your doctor to get checked out, as they could signal an infection or other issues. Okay, we are more than halfway through our countdown. Let's quickly recap. We've talked about mistake number 7, the late-night hydration habit and the dehydration paradox. Mistake number 6, the evening couch potato routine. Mistake number 5, the deceptive nightcap. And mistake number 4, the wrong pre-bedtime meal. The common thread here is that these are all about being more mindful and strategic in the hours leading up to sleep. And by the way, if you're finding this information valuable and it's giving you some aha moments, it would mean the world to us if you take a half second to tap that like button below. It really helps the channel and allows this information to find other men who might need to hear it. Now, are you ready for the top 3? This is where we get into the real game changers, the things that have a powerful direct effect on your prostate and bladder control. Let's dive into mistake number 3. This mistake is one of the most common and most overlooked culprits behind nocturia, and for many men, fixing it can be life-changing. The mistake is taking certain prescription medications, especially diuretics, too close to bedtime. This isn't a lifestyle issue, it's a scheduling issue. The mechanism here is incredibly straightforward. Many medications for high blood pressure or heart conditions are diuretics, often called water pills. Their entire purpose is to help your body get rid of excess salt and water by making you urinate more. Common examples include drugs like furosemide or hydrochlorothiazide. Other types of blood pressure medications, like calcium channel blockers, can also increase nighttime urination by affecting fluid retention. Even some antidepressants have been linked to urinary side effects. If you take one of these medications with dinner or right before bed, you are essentially programming your body to be in peak urine production mode all night long. I spoke with a pharmacist who told me about a patient, a gentleman in his 70s who was chronically exhausted. He was taking his water pill with his dinner every night simply because it was easier to remember that way. The pharmacist, after reviewing his case, suggested he speak with his doctor about taking it with breakfast instead. The man came back a month later and said it was like a miracle. He was finally sleeping through the night again. It wasn't a new drug or a complicated procedure. It was just a simple change in timing. This isn't a side effect you just have to endure. It's often a variable you can control. Your action step is to become a medication detective. Look at the prescriptions you take. If any of them are diuretics for blood pressure or are on the list of drugs known to cause nocturia, note what time of day you take them. Then, the crucial step is to have a conversation with your doctor or pharmacist. Ask them directly, could the timing of this medication be affecting my sleep? Is it safe and appropriate for me to take it in the morning instead? This simple question transforms you from a passive pill taker into an active manager of your own health. And I'll say it again, because it's that important. Never ever change the timing or dosage of a prescribed medication on your own. Some medications are specifically designed to be taken at certain times for maximum effectiveness or safety. This must be a team effort with your healthcare provider. This next mistake also involves a kind of internal pressure, but it's not from a pill. It's something that happens in your gut and in your bladder right before you turn out the lights. Let's talk about mistake number 2. Mistake number 2 is a double whammy that completes our pressure trifecta. It's a two-part problem I call the holding pattern. Going to bed with a full bowel from constipation and not fully emptying your bladder right before you lie down. Let's break down why this is so critical. It all comes down to anatomy. Your prostate gland sits directly in front of your rectum. They are next-door neighbors in a very crowded space. When you are constipated and stool builds up in the bowel, it can physically press against your already enlarged prostate, adding pressure and potentially worsening inflammation and urinary symptoms. Furthermore, the straining that often comes with constipation tenses the very same pelvic floor muscles that are involved in bladder control, creating even more dysfunction in the area. It's a two-way street of pressure and irritation. At the same time, there's the bladder side of the holding pattern. Because an enlarged prostate can obstruct the urethra, it's very common for men with BPH to not fully empty their bladder when they urinate. You go to the bathroom, but a little bit of urine is left behind. This means your bladder starts the night already partially full, so it will reach its gotta-go capacity much faster, waking you up sooner. Imagine your prostate is a small balloon in a crowded space. If you have a backlog in your digestive system from constipation, it's like a bowling ball is pressing on that balloon from behind. And if you don't fully empty your bladder, it's like another ball is pressing on it from the front. It's getting squeezed from both sides, which is a recipe for nighttime disruption. So you have a two-part action step here. First, address constipation by adopting a prostate-friendly, high-fiber diet. This means focusing on vegetables, fruits, beans, and whole grains, and making sure you are drinking plenty of water during the day to keep things moving smoothly. Second, every single night before bed, practice what the Mayo Clinic calls double voiding. Go to the bathroom and urinate as you normally would. Then, instead of leaving, stay there for another 30 to 60 seconds. Relax, take a few deep breaths, and then try to urinate again. You will often be surprised that there was a little more left in the tank. This ensures you are starting the night with the emptiest possible bladder. For your red flag, if you have chronic, persistent constipation that doesn't resolve with diet and hydration, it's important to discuss it with your doctor. And if you ever feel like you truly cannot empty your bladder at all, that is considered a medical emergency, and you need to seek care immediately. We've now covered diet, drinks, exercise, medications, and bathroom habits. But the number one mistake, the one that can undo all your other good work, doesn't happen in the kitchen or the bathroom. It happens right here, in your mind. The single biggest bedtime mistake that is harming your prostate is going to bed with unmanaged stress and anxiety. This might sound softer than the other points, but the physical mechanism is powerful, direct, and it creates a vicious cycle that can be incredibly difficult to break. Here is how the symptom cascade works. It starts with the physical problem. Your enlarged prostate causes nocturia, waking you up at night. This leads to the first consequence: poor, fragmented sleep, which leaves you tired and on edge. This, in turn, creates the second consequence. You begin to feel stress and anxiety about going to sleep. You lie down already anticipating the inevitable interruption, worried about having an accident, and frustrated about the night ahead. This is where the cycle turns back on itself and becomes truly vicious. When your body is in a state of stress, it releases hormones like adrenaline that trigger your fight or flight response. This causes muscles all over your body to tense up, including the smooth muscles in your pelvic floor, around your prostate, and at the neck of your bladder. This muscular tightening literally squeezes the area, increasing the physical obstruction and heightening the sensation of urinary urgency. So, the symptom, nocturia, creates a consequence, stress, which then becomes a direct physical cause that makes the original symptom even worse. It's a self-perpetuating engine of misery. It's like this. You go to bed already worried that you're going to have to get up. That worry puts your body on high alert. Your muscles, including the ones deep in your pelvis that you don't even think about, get tight. You're essentially preloading the spring, making it that much easier for the urge to pop up and wake you. Breaking this mind-body feedback loop is perhaps the most critical step you can take. Your number one action step is to create a mental cool-down routine for the last 15 to 30 minutes of your day. This is non-negotiable. No news, no screens, no stressful conversations about finances or family problems. Instead, you must actively send a signal to your nervous system to stand down. Try listening to calming music, reading a physical book, not on a bright screen, doing some gentle stretching, or practicing a simple deep breathing exercise. A great one is to simply inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold your breath gently for a count of 4. And then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. Do this for just 5 minutes. You are sending a direct physiological signal to your body to relax those pelvic muscles. And listen, if your stress or anxiety feels overwhelming, if it's affecting your daily life beyond just your sleep, please talk to someone. Speaking with a therapist or counselor is a sign of immense strength, and it can give you incredible tools to manage your overall health. So there you have it. The 7 biggest bedtime mistakes that could be sabotaging your prostate health and your sleep. As we've seen today, taking back control of your nights isn't about one magic pill or a single dramatic change. It's about being the thoughtful, intelligent manager of your own health. It's about understanding that what you drink, what you eat, how you move, and how you relax in the evening all send powerful signals to your body. By making a series of small, smart choices, creating a fluid curfew, breaking up your sitting time, avoiding bladder irritants, timing your medications wisely, clearing the holding pattern, and managing stress, you can change those signals and get a different, more restful result. The most important message I want you to leave with is this. You are not a passive victim of aging. You are the chief executive of your own well-being. You have the power to break the cycle of pressure, irritation, and stress, and to give your body the peaceful night of healing and rest it deserves. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 mistakes was the biggest aha moment for you? Was it the dehydration paradox, the idea of double voiding, or the connection between stress and pelvic muscle tension? Let me know in the comments section below. I read every single one, and your story might just help someone else in this community. If you found this deep dive helpful and you want more practical, no-nonsense content to help you live a healthier, more vibrant life, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and ring the little notification bell so you don't miss our next video.